How to identify the Russian Su-24 offensive strike aircraft. General specs are as follows. Now, just so you guys know, I don't always, but usually I get the specs, the general specs here from Wikipedia. From what I've seen with other sources, the information when it comes to the general specifications on Wikipedia seem comparable. Okay, crew 2, a pilot and navigator or weapon systems operator, or WISO, WSO, length 22.53 meters or 73 feet 11 inches, wingspan 17.64 meters or 57 feet 10 inches with the wing spread, 10.37 meters or 34 foot wingspan with the wing swept, height 6.19 meters or 20 feet 4 inches, max takeoff weight 43,755 kgs or 96,000 or 463 pounds. Now that's a lot of weight. Maximum speed 1654 k's or 1028 miles per hour or Mach 1.6. Ferry range 2775 kilometers or 1724 miles or 1498 nautical miles. Service ceiling 11,000 meters or 36,000 feet. Armament may include but is not limited to the following: guns, 1 internal 23mm GSH, 6 23M rotary cannon, and of course rockets, bombs, air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles. These may or can include precision-guided weapons, cluster munitions, and nuclear-tipped weapons if required. Now this is quite a lovely photo, and here we can see the wings are high mounted, almost blending with the top of the air intakes, and you can see that in that yellow oval. And here once again we can see those variable swept wings. Notice the different wing positions in these two photos. And we have tapered wings with blunt tips, as you can see in the photo on the right hand side inside the yellow oval. And we have twin engines, we have twin air intakes, and that are long, rectangular, and mounted on the fuselage forward of the wings, leading edges. And you can see one of those intakes there inside the yellow oval. And in this photo here, courtesy of Alan Wilson, we can see a rather forlorn looking fencer. Nevertheless, for identification purposes, it's absolutely perfect. And here, note the long air intakes. Each stretches from just below the cockpit to the base of the fuselage. Now, of course, those intakes are further behind the cockpit, but looking at it here, it looks from the front. It kind of looks like they're just below the cockpit. Anyway, so those intakes, those rectangular intakes, are inside those yellow ovals. In this next video clip, and it's a short one, notice the position of the intakes and how obvious they are as the aircraft is flying. And here we go, pay attention to those intakes, they're long and thin of course, and also here, notice the position of those high mounted wings as the aircraft takes off. And notice we have twin exhausts mounted close together, which of course is no surprise since this aircraft has twin engines. And this plane has dual stepped up cockpit with seats seated side by side, and you can see that inside that yellow oval. The plane has a somewhat slender, long fuselage with a solid pointed nose that has a noticeable upturn under the radome, and you can certainly see the upturn in other photos as well. And you can see this, the nose of the aircraft inside the yellow oval. And in the next video clip, those twin engines, those twin paired engines will be quite obvious. Also pay attention to the upsweep, that slight upsweep of the nose, and of course the length of that fuselage too. All good features when it comes to help to identify this aircraft. Okay, notice those twin exhausts as the aircraft rises up into the sky. Okay, now see that the nose there, a slight upsweep there on the nose. Once again we have the exhausts. And as previously mentioned, pay attention to the length of that fuselage. It's definitely long, and that length between the nose and the tail is definitely an identifying feature of this aircraft. And now let's carry on with the rest of the episode. Well, look at that shot there, that's a nice picture. And again we have a long rectangular shaped body from after the cockpit to the exhausts. And this plane has two belly fins or ventral fins, one on the port, which is the left side, and one on the starboard side, which is the right side. Of course, sometimes they may be a little difficult to see. Nevertheless, let's carry on. And here we can see that single tail fin, which is swept back and tapered with a square tip. And notice here that the flats are high mounted on the fuselage. They are swept back and tapered with angular tips, as you can see in that green oval. The step near the base of the fin is a generator cooling air intake. At least that's what I believe it is. While this was not present on all variants of the Fencer, I believe it is present on all Su-24s currently in service. And you can see it there in that green oval there on near the base of the fin of the aircraft. Okay, so here trying to see those belly fins against the clouds is quite difficult, but you do see them when the aircraft moves a little more. But also pay attention to that tail and the top of the tail. The tip of that tail is actually quite thin compared with a lot of other aircraft. And of course you can see the cooling intake towards the base of the tail, and here of course the plane is landing. And nice shot there of it coming into land. And at the rear of the aircraft, at the base of the tail, we have the fairing for drag chutes, and you can see it there in that green oval. So the drag parachutes come out of there when it opens up. So believe it or not, I actually had a difficult time trying to find decent silhouette pictures of the Su-24. So what I have is this one here. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, let's look at the features that we can identify in these silhouettes. So we have blunt wing tips in the left and right pictures, as you can see. Of course, in the left picture, the wings are swept forward, and in the right picture, the wings are swept to the rear. The wings are tapered, as we can see in the left and the right pictures. We have ventral fins in the top center picture, and as you can see in the top center picture, those ventral fins towards the rear of the aircraft are quite obvious on the underside. We have a large tapered tail in the top center picture, as you can see. We have twin paired engines that are obvious in the left and right pictures. And we have tail flats, and those tail flats have angled tips on the left and the right pictures, as you can also make out in the left and right pictures. We have a single tail that overhangs the exhaust, as you can see in the left and right pictures. And we have a pointed nose in the left, right, and top pictures, and that's obvious in all three of those shots. In the lower picture, as we can see, we have a wide side-by-side cockpit, and there's high-mounted wings and a single tail. Alright people, do not confuse this aircraft with the Tornado, MiG-23 and MiG-27. You shouldn't confuse it with the F-111, as those are no longer in service with anybody, which is quite a shame. The variable wing or swing wing, twin-engine Su-24 interdiction and bomber aircraft is designed to penetrate hostile territory and destroy surface targets in all weather conditions, day and night. While the Su-24 Fencer was often compared with the now larger but now retired American F-111, a more apt comparison would probably be with the still in service Panavia Tornado out of Europe. The Fencer design started in the 1960s, entering active service in 1973. While the aircraft is facing gradual retirement, those that remain in service have undergone significant upgrades, including GLONASS, which is roughly the Russian equivalent of GPS. They have modernized cockpits, a head-up display, improved countermeasures, and a secondary air-to-air capability with the ability to carry the R-73, the same weapon found on the MiG-29 and Su-27. However, with the Fencer carrying air-to-air missiles, it's mainly as a defensive more than an attack idea. At least 500 attack Fencers were built. Overall numbers of the aircraft are estimated between 700 to 900 examples. The type is also used, or can be also be used, for maritime strike, reconnaissance, and for electronic jamming, SIGINT, and reconnaissance. So, okay, SIGINT, that is signals intelligence. The 8 weapons pylons beneath the Su-24's fuselage, wing gloves, and outer wing panels can carry a wide variety of weaponry, ranging from tactical and defense suppression bombs and missiles through to nuclear weapons. Perhaps more importantly, regarding weapons, considering its role, the aircraft can now carry a greater array of precision attack weapons than at any point in its career. The Su-24 may carry CAB 1500 and CAB 1500 KR guided bombs, with a weight of around 1500 kgs. The Su-24 is fast at low level and can carry an impressive warload. Of course, a larger payload may affect range and speed, which is pretty straightforward, right? Early versions were hampered by unreliable avionics. However, these shortcomings were addressed by the Su-24M Fencer D. And now the Su-24M, they are the most numerous examples still in service. The new variant Fencer featured new Orion forward-looking radar, an infrared probe for in-flight refueling, and a new PNS-24M navigation attack system. However, as it is, the Fencer can still go around 4,000 km without having to refuel, so it's quite an impressive range. The Kara laser rangefinder and target designator give compatibility with a new range of precision-guided missiles. The Su-24MK Fencer D is a downgraded export version of the Su-24M. This aircraft was developed in 1985, and since then a total of around 70 to 80 have been exported to various countries such as Algeria and Ukraine, with other countries in between, of course, because you'd also find now Iran and Belarus and Iraq also using this plane. Well, I don't know if Iraq still does, but Iran certainly does, and I believe that several of the Iraqi Fencers actually flew to Iran in the original Gulf War, and now, of course, Iran pushed those planes into service. While the Su-24MK is a downgraded aircraft, it ought to be remembered it is still highly capable. And as an example, in 1996, 4 Iranian Fencers attacked a mech that's in an anti-Iranian group in northern Baghdad during the middle of the day. Now, it's highly likely that those aircraft that were used to attack that group were actually originally Iraqi Fencers that were flown into Iran during that Gulf War. Of course, what the Gulf War is, 1990, 91? Now, this all occurred despite the Western-controlled no-fly zone and Iraqi air defences. The Iranian aircraft flew in and out without escorts. Now, I don't know if they had suppression of enemy air defence aircraft with them or not, but there certainly weren't any aircraft dedicated to air defence flying with them as far as I know. The Su-24MP Fencer F is a tactical electronic warfare and electronic countermeasures or ECM aircraft. The two PAL-21F turbojets combined with a variable geometry wing and a terrain avoidance system or TFR enable the Su-24 to fly low level at supersonic speeds. Good lord, that'll be fucking scary. Imagine going low level at supersonic speeds. Hell, wouldn't want to make any mistakes there. The variable geometry wing has positions 16 degrees for takeoff and landing, 35 degrees for cruise, 45 degrees for high-speed maneuvering, and 60 degrees for supersonic flight. Its crew consists of a pilot and a navigator, now that navigator is also the WISO or Weapons Stations Officer, and which are seated side by side in the cockpit cabin. Pilot is on the port side. Apart from the nav attack system radar and the TFR, the nose also contains a second radar scanner for ranging of airborne targets. Aside of the Soviet Union, now Russia, the qualities of the Su-24 Fencer were certainly respected and appreciated. According to British magazine Air International back in the 1980s, they said of the Su-24, the Su-24 is potentially the greatest threat to the European states of all combat aircraft in service for the frontline aviation of the Soviet Air Force. It has excellent characteristics in terms of combat, payload and range. And again, thanks all for watching. Go ahead and like, dislike, share and subscribe.